All right, so we talked about the piriformis stretch and the seated position, which is when we put our leg into this figure four position, hand on the ankle and under the knee, and we're leaning forward, closing the distance between this knee and my chest. This is to isolate the muscle in the glute known as the piriformis muscle, which wreaks havoc on the hip socket, the SI joint, and can put pressure on the sciatic nerve. For a couple of reasons, oftentimes this position we can't really accomplish even this part of it, whether we have a hip replacement. If you have a hip replacement, we should probably talk about this in the office so I can have a little bit more hands-on time with you to make sure we're not doing more harm than good. A lot of times we have other types of joint issues in the hip or in the lower back. The point is if this position hurts to get into, we can do this another way that might be more comfortable. I want you to find something at home or at work where you have like your bedside or a sofa, anything about this high off of the ground, so we can sort of almost plop down into this position. We still have the figure four position of the leg. Okay, you can let the other cheek sort of hang off. My foot is stable on the ground, so I'm not going anywhere. But again, we're just in this same position again, okay? Now, all we do from here is we lean forward, okay? This might be a more comfortable way for some people to get into this piriformis muscle deep in the glute, so we can isolate it in a way that's not going to put any harm on the knee or the hip or any other thing going on. The way we can modify this, if we're not quite feeling the stretch leaning in this direction, we'll just change the angle with which we lean. We can lean over the knee. Now this isn't a twist, it's just instead of going this way, we just go this way. Or if we don't quite feel it that way, we can lean more towards the foot, okay? Another way we can modify this at home is what we can do is we can like wedge a pillow underneath the knee, and that'll change the steepness or the angle of the knee. So we might feel that a little bit differently. It might be more comfortable. But the point is we don't have to necessarily be in this seated position. We can come up to our bedside or our sofa and just sort of come into this position maybe with a little bit more support from the bench. So we want to be really careful with anybody who has any type of surgical history in the hip girdle, in the pelvis, maybe the knee. If this seated position stretch for the piriformis muscle is just too uncomfortable, we can find a position like this at home, and similarly, just find the angle with which we lean or which angle the knee is propped up into to isolate the glute muscle.